Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Sean and for my pains I'm an artist, and watercolours, oils, pastels, pencils, sketching, you name it. We're going to have a bash at everything on this channel, and today I've just come out from just where I live, just around the corner, and we're going to be going to the church which is just behind me, and I'm going to show you the subject matter. It's a beautiful church built in 1120 by William the Conqueror and his band of merry men who came and ransacked this country way back in the day. A lot of history to it, and we're going to do some watercolour of it today. So on our way to the subject matter, Felkirk Church, and just going through here you can see it. And there we are, just by the roadside here. We're going to go over to the actual grounds and get in there a little bit closer. I just want to let you know it's important as well. At the moment I have a health condition, osteoarthritis, and I have had a hip operation. So I'm going to take a photograph of this church today, and we're going to go back into my studio stroke kitchen and we're going to paint from the photograph. But in the future, other videos that I do on the channel, we're going to be going out and about on location all over the place. It's just that my condition at the moment doesn't allow me to do that, so hey ho. So over the years I've been to many places, particularly the coast, because I love seascapes. North Yorkshire, which is probably the nearest for me, and done many paintings on location. But as I said, today we're going to be in the studio, and I'm going to take you through my little setup, what I use, how I go about starting my paintings and sketches, oil paintings, watercolour paintings, any media, anything that I do, and we'll see how we go. So today's painting is on Fabriano watercolour paper. I've used this since about 1991, 1992 for most of my paintings. There's lots and lots of different sort of substrates and different manufacturers of watercolour paper that you can get. They're all very good, but my preferred one is Fabriano, and this is rough. It's quite thick actually as well, and quite solid. It's got that nice rough textured surface as well. Here's my this is my palette, which is basically just a very old plate. I think that goes back even beyond the 90s to about the 80s, and I had that at university and college, and it served me well. And it has served me well because I haven't even got any chips on it or anything. I've just cleaned it as well, so it's ready to put some paint in. 3 brushes, varying sizes. The larger one there on the left, you can see that's what I put down some water straight from the jug to do washes and things, and then 2 smaller brushes to get into a bit more detail later on. And here's my water pot, or glass, shall we say. Nothing fancy. Just a beer glass really, anything that holds water, and it's not going to be a problem today because, as I say, I'm at the desk. I probably wouldn't use that out on location. I've got other means for using the water for the painting. Oh, and look over there in the distance, just over there, you can see the church there that we're going to be painting today. That's how close it is to our home. Here's my little paint box that I've had this year's as well. It's had a bit of hammer and it's been through the wars, but still intact, still okay. Some watercolours. I use Windsor&Newton. I've used them all my painting career and life, right from school really. Again, there's many different manufacturers of art materials, and I'm sure they're all very good. I've just basically stuck to what I've always known, and it's what I'm used to. We've got a cloth here. There is another palette in there that came with the set. I've never actually used it, so it's absolutely pristine. It's probably nearly 40 years old. We've got some more little brushes in here, and this is my graphite pencil that I'll sketch out my little rough drawing with before we start painting away. A few more brushes in here, a little sponge, and some paints there as well. These are my main paints that I always use, and I'll get into that in a moment. So I'm going to start sketching out very quickly, nice and loose. The I'll put a bit of foreground in here. I don't want much more than that. Just it's very, very loose. I'll just use it as a guideline, really. The church spire is going to be about here. I say spire, it's a tower, isn't it? Again, very loose. Not much more than that. Just basic structure. I'll come down here. Got a bit of a roof. Probably going to be a little bit of tree there. Quite simple, really. That's it. That's as much as I would do. I might just put indicate where there's sort of 3 windows are going to go there. Very, very loose. That's about it, really. Just around here. Yeah, that's good. Love that there. That's the 4 main spires, so we've got them in place. Now the colours that I use, it's quite simple again, and that's how I've always done it. Sometimes I will add other different colours depending on the subject, really, but generally I keep it to the primaries. So we've got cadmium yellow, French ultramarine, and I use a version of a red, which is a alizarin crimson, which is absolutely beautiful. And then sometimes greens can be a little bit difficult to mix, and I will rely on a little bit of hooker's green sometimes. And then to put some depth and darkness into shadows and things like that, I will use what's called neutral tint. Another colour I will use sometimes to add a little bit of depth and colour, particularly skies, is Prussian blue as well. So he's on hand. Here you can see my palette setup. There's a little bit of alizarin crimson. There's my yellow, the hooker's green. Here's the French ultramarine, and then we've got that neutral tint just to add a bit of darkness when we need to, shadows and things like that. You can see I don't use a lot. It's a fantastic paint. Is the Windsor&Newton. One of the reasons why I've used it for years, because it lasts you ages. So first things first, we'll get a wash onto the sky area. Nice big brush, plenty of water on. Plenty of water on there. Let's get it spread around. Nice and steady. Let's get that on there. This is where the Fabriano paper comes into its own. Really, really nice. Soaks that water in and holds it there as well for quite some time. You haven't got a lot of time with watercolour to do the thing you want to do overall, but you have got a little bit of time with Fabriano. It'll stay wet for a few minutes. There we go. That's him in. Okay, let's mix some colours for the sky. Put a little bit of warmth into that blue. We're just going to use a little bit of that alizarin crimson. Let's mop up a little bit of that. And we're going to take that into there. Whoosh. I'm just going to put a nice, soft so that colour, picking it up, bring him in here. That's it. That's good. To clean brushes and just get rid of any excess water in between things like washers and getting rid of sort of colour when I want to change and go to a different colour, just a little bit of toilet tissue a normal tissue. That does the job, and you can just dab away and clean your brushes. Does the job. Now here, I'm just mixing myself a little bit of warmth, and that warmth, I'm using some of that Cadmium Yellow and the Alizarin Crimson to create a sort of a nice little warm tint. And I'm going to take that across the bottom here. Very, very softly. That warmth is sort of going to depict the evening glow that I'm looking for. We just introduce that into the wash. There we go. I'll leave that for a while. So we'll just let that dry now. We're going to completely dry, and then we're going to put a little bit more detail, some more strokes over the top of that. We'll bring some cloud formation in, and that'll be another wash as well. So that's a wash over a wash. I can't remember the technical term. We used to talk about it back in the 80s when I was at uni. Is it wet on dry, dry on wet, wash on wash? I can't remember. Start mixing up some colour for some more clouds. A little bit of warmth with that crimson, the reddy crimson. Majority is the blue. But for some depth now, you can see I'm going to start bringing a little bit of that neutral tint into there. Let's get on there. What I'll do now is I'm just going to go a little bit darker on the top up there. Bring in a bit of that neutral tint in. Put some darkness in here. I'm just going to a bit of darkness in there for that drama. Let's take a little bit through there. Not too much more, don't overwork it. Bit of depth in here. That'll do. Got a bit in there. That'll do nicely. So as you can see there, I used some of the ultramarine. I'll just show my palette there. Some of the ultramarine, the alizarin crimson, a little bit there just for a touch of warmth. And I started bringing in some of that neutral tint just to put some darkness into that overall wash colour there. And as you can see on there, just very, very quickly, no more than 5 minutes or so, just got some of that colour onto there and just worked a little bit in. Nothing too laboured, just nice and loose on there. I'm going to let that dry now and we'll see how it looks. That wash has dried now, and I'm just doing one final strokes for the darkest of clouds. this mix has got a little bit more of that neutral tint in it, and we're going to apply some final clouds. A little bit just here, I think. Okay, that's that. I think that's my sky finished. Alright, so we're just going to let that dry now, 5-10 minutes, and then come back to it and we'll start putting the foreground in and the church. But happy with that. Probably spent about no more than 10 minutes in brush time on there. We've had to wait for the washes to dry individually, but that's not a problem. Go and get a cup of tea while we're waiting. So very important in any process in art and creativity, always replenish yourself with a nice cup of tea. Keep you going. Okay, here we go. Mixing some of that alizarin crimson, and this is going to be the basis of for my building area and structure. You notice that you're going to start getting a really beautiful orangey ochre colour from those two colours. So the alizarin crimson and cadmium yellow. Here we go. And coming over the palette, I'm going to come over to the green now, and this is where I'm going to introduce some of the foliage and the tree line. It's actually quite dark, so we'll bring some of that over into here. There we go, that's what we're after. Okay, so I've mixed quite a dark, lovely dark ochre brown using the crimson, a bit of the neutral tint, and I brought some yellow in. There's a little bit of some green still over there, which is nice. My finer brush now as well, so I'm going to put a bit of detail in here, if we can. Okay, nice and loose. dry that brush off. Nice there. Let's just manipulate a little bit of that, just soften it off. There we go. Sorted. I'll leave it at that. We're going to look at the foreground, and that'll be it. So we're moving on to the foreground next, which is a different area of the painting as such. I'm going to clean the brushes off, and I just use the existing water. Oop. Still a little bit of goldenness in the field, although we're now in September, mid-September here in the UK. But it's still quite vibrant. Nice sunny day. So as we did with the sky earlier on, we're just going to put a bit of water down here. And we'll let that settle in for a few minutes. There we go. Just give that a few minutes, a couple of minutes to just soak into the Fabriano watercolour paper, and then we'll put a wash on. Just a lovely golden glow now for that cornfield. Beautiful, beautiful colours. These Windsor&Newton watercolours, this is where you can really see the lovely vibrancy that they offer. So that's my wash in. And again, let's just let a bit more in there. A little bit over there, and a little bit just there. That's it. Okay, I'm just going to finish off now with a touch of detail, well, just a few strokes into this field. And that really will be it, I think. Don't want to do too much more. Just there, that's nice. Nice and loose, just a little bit of showing there. A little bit just here. Example. Just in the foreground here, just going to introduce a little bit of there is some foliage over there, you can see, but I don't want to go into too much. Again, this sort of small A4, if you like, or just a little bit smaller sketch, come illustrative, come quick little drawing, field sketch, field drawing, field watercolour, whatever you want to call it. I keep it really, really quick and simple. I'm going to leave it at that. Well, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Always love painting and drawing and doing artistic things. I'll be back next week with some more painting in watercolour. I'll move on from the smaller field study, and we're going to go into something probably a little bit larger, and we'll look at the church from a different perspective and a different angle. So for now, I hope you enjoy all your creative endeavours as much as I do, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.